Did you know that your LLC isn't actually protected until you have one piece of paper in place? I'm talking about your operating agreement. Yep, without it, that LLC that you just filed with your state might not be giving you the protection that you think you have. And that means your personal assets, your house, your car, your savings could all be on the line. Hi there, I'm Paige Griffith, attorney and CEO of The Legal Page. On this channel, I break down legal must-haves for small business owners in a way that's actually easy to understand. And today, we're talking about one of the most overlooked but most important documents in your business, your LLC operating agreement. Let's start off with the basics. Your LLC's operating agreement is basically the rule book for how your business runs. Without it, you're relying on your state's default rules, which are rarely in your favor. Think of it like this. Would you rather make your own rules or let the government make them for you? Yeah, exactly. So what's in an operating agreement? It's your LLC's internal rule book. It spells out how your business is structured, how decisions are made, and what happens if things go sideways. Here's what it's not. It is not your articles of organization or certificate of formation that you file with your state to get your LLC recognized. It's also not corporate bylaws. That's for corporations. Your operating agreement, it's private, it's internal, it's a document that's tailored to your small business. Even if your state doesn't legally require it, here is why you still need an LLC operating agreement. Number one, liability protection. It proves that your LLC is separate from you as a person. Without it, a court could say if you are commingling things and you're doing things wrong and mixing up personal and business all the time, that you're really just running a sole proprietorship and piercing that veil of protection that you have with your LLC bubble. Next, clarity. What an operating agreement does is it lays out all of the rules so you're not making things up on the fly or as you go. Next, it lets you set custom rules and avoid your state's default laws, which again, don't usually favor you. For example, some states split profits equally no matter how much each person invested. And it is required in some states. An LLC operating agreement is required in places like California, Delaware, Maine, Missouri, and New York. They require those written operating agreements when you are getting registered as a limited liability company in that state. So if you're in one of those states, then this isn't optional, but for everyone else it is, and I still highly, highly recommend this document. So what belongs in your operating agreement? A really strong one covers basic company details, so your business name, formation date, registered agent, member, and manager information. And all of this seems simple, but it's really just laying that foundation at the beginning of your document. Then you would talk about capital contributions, which is really just a fancy way of saying what money, property, or services did you put into the business. If you're a single member LLC, it's usually just you funding things, but it's important to document for tax purposes and or wind up purposes down the line. Next, ownership and profits. Even if you are the only owner, you want language in there about how profits and losses are handled and how you pay yourself. Then management structure. Is your LLC member managed or manager managed? For single member LLCs, it's almost always member managed, but you still need to spell it out. Then voting and decision making. Again, even if you're the only member, put it in writing. Why? Because sometimes some things happen to you and this guides what happens next. Buyout and transfer provisions are also very important. What happens if you sell the business, pass it on to a family member, or want to transfer ownership or ownership percentages in any way. Next, distribution of duties, so powers, duties, and responsibilities of all members and managers in your LLC. Next, tax treatment, how your LLC is taxed. Is it a disregarded entity, a partnership, or an S Corp under federal laws? Next, wind up instructions. This is the part that most people ignore. And your operating agreement should say what happens if you dissolve your LLC or what happens if you die or are incapacitated. How do assets get distributed? Who pays off debts? How are your ongoing contracts going to be handled? Who gets paid if you have employees and contractors? Who has the authority to close accounts? It avoids chaos for your family and protects your legacy when you have this in your LLC operating agreement. Next, amendments and updates. Businesses evolve, and so should your operating agreement. It should say how changes can be made. And spoiler alert, don't just forget about it once your LLC is drafted and signed. Ultimately, you want to think of this document as your business's playbook. The more clear you are up front, the fewer headaches that you'll have later down the line. And you can always go in and revise your operating agreement if you wish. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Paige, I'm just a single member LLC. I own this business myself. I run it myself. There's no one else involved. Do I really need this? Yes, 1,000 times yes. Courts will look to see if you're keeping your business separate from your personal life. And if you don't have an operating agreement, it's easier for them to say, this person isn't really treating their LLC like a legitimate LLC, limited liability company, that's separate from who they are as a person. That is called piercing the corporate veil, and it means that your personal assets, like I mentioned, your car, your savings, your kids' savings, your 401k, your house, everything could be on the line. And nobody wants that. That's why you set up an LLC to begin with. So here's my straight up legal take. Having an operating agreement shows that you're serious. It's evidence that your LLC is its own legal entity, and that one document can make all of the difference between your LLC actually protecting you or not. And here's where I want to get really real with you for a minute. I have personally handled multiple cases of businesses winding up, sudden deaths of owners, and messy buyouts where no operating agreement was in place. And let me tell you, as a lawyer, it is not pretty. Without that document, there is no roadmap. There's no course of action moving forward. So family members and co-owners are left scrambling. They're arguing over who has authority, who gets what, how debts should be handled. And that's especially true if you have money in your business bank account. So even if you thought that you maybe had a verbal agreement with someone or understood how things would work, the law doesn't care about that. Instead of honoring the way that you wanted to run your business or wrap it up, the state's default rules would kick in when you don't have an operating agreement. And those rules rarely match your original vision. And in my opinion, and I'm sure in a ton of other trust and estate lawyers' opinions, it is heartbreaking to watch entrepreneurs' hard work just unravel because they didn't take the time to spell things out in writing when they were here. So what am I trying to say here? Ultimately, if you haven't created one yet, today is the day to fix that. I want you to sit down and write out your LLC operating agreement, or better yet, you can get a template one and start working on it right now and have it done in 20 to 30 minutes. Either way, make sure that you have these sections in it: capital contributions, ownership, management, and don't forget the wind-up plan. That's one of the most important things on how you would finalize the business if you weren't here. And if you want that done for you version that's written by myself and reviewed by attorneys here at the Legal Page, I have got a single member LLC operating agreement template that is ready for you. I will link it below in the description so that you can grab it and get legally legit today. Don't wait until it's too late and you're in a mess. Please, registering your LLC in your home state and then getting your operating agreement in place is the best insurance for your business. All right, friends, I hope this helps you understand the why and the what behind this super important document. Hit subscribe so you don't miss my next video, and I'll see you next time.